What's going on, guys? It's Josh. We got this Nintendo Switch 2. First off, first impressions. As much as I really wanted them to come up with an original name, Nintendo Switch 2 makes a lot of sense. Well, it is an entirely new generation, basically, as it seems, at least. This is still very much a Switch. This is a Switch console. In hindsight, it makes a whole lot more sense for it to be called this. But anyways, today I just want to give some of my thoughts on the Nintendo Switch 2. Basically just kind of go over general first impressions, and then I'll go deeper into how I think this is going to go, this new Nintendo Switch console. It's very interesting to look at because a lot of people have been saying that, oh, well, this just looks like the regular Switch. Like, oh, you should just buy a Switch OLED. I think there's more to it than that. I think there's a whole lot more to this than just, this isn't just a Switch Pro, I guess you could say. I think that this could be, especially if some of the leaks coming out right now are true, this could definitely be a far more performant Switch. I hope so. Anyways, I'll talk about that later on. But just to go over first impressions, I mean, I like the look of this console. Some people are bashing on this thing, absolutely bashing on this thing, for just looking like the Nintendo Switch again. Like it looks just like a regular Switch. And to a degree, that's kind of accurate. It does look like just a bigger Switch. However, obviously, as you're seeing in this trailer, like there are some really notable changes. That second USB-C port is nice. This new reinvented kickstand, while we'll need to get our hands on to see how it stands the test of time, looks very nice. It looks more integrated with the console, I'd say. And these new Joy-Cons, like, they are a bit bigger, maybe still pretty thin. I'd say I do kind of like the look of them. They're bigger, they seem more robust. Not sure how I feel about the blue and pink. Hopefully they come in just like a gray accented color, but they look sleek. They look really nice. Honestly, they just look like the next step for Joy-Con. I wish they were a little thicker. I wish they weren't quite as thin, but also the magnetic connection seems really nice. I think that that's going to be pretty robust from just how they show it. Of course, again, we need to get hands-on with this thing, but it looks very nice. I think that the key thing with this trailer is that looks can be deceiving, and we just don't know yet if what we're seeing is deceptactic. We don't know because we haven't actually seen the console itself. This is a render. This is just a trailer put together to show some key features, and as we're going to see in a second, gameplay of a new game. Well, not gameplay. I'm sure it's not live gameplay, obviously. I do kind of like that they teased the fact that we've been getting leaks about these having mouse functionality, like optical mouse functionality, which would be really cool if that's what they're trying to show here. I can't say much else than what my first impressions are, and they are just that this looks like a premium Switch. It looks like an upgraded Switch. It's a lot bigger. The Joy-Cons seem very much upgraded. I really do like the look of this console. Moving on through the trailer, we then get some more just all around look at things. We get to see the dock, and of course, yes, this brand new Mario Kart game, which looks really interesting. As I said, we get to see this nice big dock. Hopefully that'll be a lot higher quality. I would love to get a metal dock. I think a metal dock, like aluminum maybe, would be kind of nice. But we'll see. It might just be plastic again. And then this. This, to me, is a big make it or break it moment for this system. It plays all of your existing Nintendo Switch games, physically or digitally, which is really nice because confession time, half my library is physical and the other half is digital. So I'm glad that I'm going to be able to play my entire library, not just physical games, because that actually did worry me, that they'd be like, okay, well, we're going to do backwards compat, but we're only going to do it with the physical cartridges. I was kind of worried about that. But it's nice to see that. I think that if they had excluded digital games from the backwards compatibility, that would have been ridiculous, but sometimes Nintendo decides to do those ridiculous things. No, I think it was kind of a no-brainer to include physical and digital. I think if they had done it any other way, they would have had a riot on their hands, truly. But there's another level to that make it or break it. Because what I want to know, and this is why I'm kind of waiting to see what we're going to see in this April Direct we're supposed to be getting. I want to see how the new console will run existing Nintendo Switch games. Take a game like, goodness gracious, Kirby Star Allies. I have not finished Kirby Star Allies. I really should. I should just like dedicate myself to finishing it and get it done and over with. But I have not finished that game because it feels like such a slog to get through, because it's locked at 30 FPS, and sometimes I don't even think it hits 30. Sometimes it feels like it's less. I don't know. I haven't finished the game because it just feels like such a slog. Compare that to Kirby's Return to Dreamland Deluxe, also on Switch. Now, granted, that's a Wii game, pretty much remastered for the Nintendo Switch, which actually has some enhancements to it, so it's not just a straight port. They actually went and did some work to it, and it runs at 60 FPS on the Switch. It ran at 60 FPS on the Wii. But Kirby Star Allies, a 2D platformer made for the Switch, not brought from any other console, is capped at 30 FPS. What I want to know with the Nintendo Switch 2, assuming that we're getting the higher performance that leaks are saying and that we expect from it, is Nintendo going to go in and say, okay, we know for sure it has the power to run these games that are capped at 30. We're going to go and uncap them. And now they're going to be capped at like 60. At least 60 FPS. I mean, I just think of games like Kirby Star Allies, Shin Megami Tensei 5, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you play it with more than 2 people. If you play with 3 people or 4 people on Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the frame rate drops to 30. That should not exist on the Switch 2 if we're getting the performance boosts that we expect out of this thing and that the leaks are claiming. There's no reason why Mario Kart 8 Deluxe couldn't run at 60 FPS with 3 to 4 players in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. There's no reason why Kirby Star Allies can't run at 60 FPS. Shin Megami Tensei 5 at 60 FPS. Pokemon games should be massively better on, and I'm not even a Pokemon person. I haven't played Sword or Shield or Scarlet or Violet, but like they could really use that. They could really use some optimization. I hope that like the Nintendo Switch will kind of open up the gates for that. And of course, the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to be getting a Pokemon game, which might also be on the original Nintendo Switch. So hopefully the original Switch doesn't like hold that back at all. I hope not, but they announced it last year, so you know, I would hope, was it Pokemon Legends Z to A or something like that? Or A to Z, I forget. It has a Z in it. But yeah, I just kind of like, I would expect that Nintendo would be like, okay, we have that performance. We know that we can get those games at 60 FPS, unlike just didn't really want to push the original Switch. So we're going to go and we're going to put them at 60 FPS. Again, a game like Kirby Star Allies does not run at 60 FPS. It's capped at 30. And yet like Metroid Prime Remastered, which is honestly, I'd say a more complex game. I mean, I guess it's, you know, it's obviously an older game. It's a GameCube game instead of a Nintendo Switch game. Metroid Prime Remastered, I played that last year, man. It was great. It's the best performing game I've played on the Switch. Like, it... So I don't get then why, like, you know, they obviously put the work in to make that game as good as it is to run on the Switch. And meanwhile, a game that was like designed for the Switch from the start can't run above 30 FPS. I don't get that, man. Especially since there's another Kirby game. Like, so that's my thing. Like, I'm hoping that like the existing Switch games are going to run on the new console better. If we get to this April Direct and they say, okay, we're going to show you existing Switch games running on the Switch 2, and it's great. We're seeing games that were always capped at 30 FPS now running at 60 FPS at minimum, and we're also seeing games that were like having all kinds of performance issues now running excellently. That'd be awesome. I will be concerned if we get to the April Direct and they show nothing of original Switch games running on the Switch 2, and they only show new games. Because in my opinion, I think they need to show some original Switch games that had issues or were capped at 30, running at 60 and not having as many issues. Like, imagine the Switch 2 Direct, the first thing they show us is Tears of the Kingdom running at a rock solid 60 FPS at like 1080p. That would be awesome. I'm not banking on that, but that would be great. And that would immediately quell my fears, and it would probably make me jump on a Switch 2. I am not deciding on whether I want to buy a Switch 2 yet. until we see more at the April Direct. I would love to buy a Switch 2. I would love to, like, as soon as this thing comes out, I go and pick one up and I start using it and I can make videos about it. That would be awesome. It'd be phenomenal. But I can't make that decision in my head yet without actually evaluating the console more in depth when we get to know more about it at the April Direct. So the April Direct, yeah, that's happening. This was actually kind of something people have been talking about. Like, why did they just drop this trailer out of the blue like 3 months before the Direct? Well, they kind of did that with the original Switch as well. I mean, they did more with the original Switch. They showed people using it. This was just like a render showing some of the features, but I think it was enough. And some people have been pointing out that this means that, like, okay, for the next 3 months, third parties are now able to say our games are releasing on Nintendo Switch 2. They can officially say that now. You know, from now till then, we might get some third-party games announced for this thing. And of course, we still have Switch games that are coming out. Xenoblade Chronicles X Definitive Edition is right around the corner. I'm probably going to buy it and play it. So we still have stuff. But a couple things to get a little more in depth that I want to go back and talk about. Obviously, I talked about the second USB-C port. I think that is great. I'm assuming you can charge from both of those ports. You can charge from the top, which just makes it nicer if you want to play and charge, not having the cable go like down and over your legs and stuff. Who knows, we might even be able to use like USB-C audio peripherals. You might be able to use a pair of USB-C headphones maybe. I don't know, we'll see, we'll find out. Maybe like one is for charging and one is for both charging and accessories. Who knows? But the important thing is they did this without sacrificing a headphone jack. Some people still love using headphones that plug into your aux port. So I'm just like yeah, I'm glad they're keeping that, because like me, if I'm using earbuds or headphones with my Switch, I do use Bluetooth. My Arctis 9s have Bluetooth, so I'll just connect with that if I'm sitting here and playing at my desk. If I'm like going somewhere, I have a pair of Bluetooth earbuds that I'll use. So I'm not really that big of a wired guy. You know, some people would be like, oh, but I don't care enough. The only place where I use wired is in my car, because yeah, I do use wired Android Auto, because I found that the wired is actually better audio quality than the wireless. Plus my car can't do wireless Android Auto. I'm gonna get called poor now because of that. Another thing is this kickstand. As I was saying, this kickstand looks pretty nice. It looks like it just is integrated into the console more. One thing I didn't like about the original Switch's kickstand is that it just like seems so like, first of all, it's small and frail. I've never used that kickstand, mainly because I play docked. And on the Switch OLED, it was a lot better and like more concealed, but this just looks like it's fit to the console. Like it's integrated with the console a whole lot more. And I do quite like the look, but we're going to have to see how this thing stands the test of time. The frame of the kickstand looks like it might be metal, but that could also just be like the sheen that it has due to it from how they make it look in the trailer. But it looks like it might actually be metal. This hinge doesn't look too good. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about the hinge. But like I said, that's something we're going to have to find out once we get hands-on with this thing. The Joy-Con. I pretty much said everything I needed to say about the Joy-Con earlier. I do like the bigger design. I wish they were a little bit thicker, but it's fine. I do like these little rings around the analog sticks that kind of make them look more enclosed and not so open. As for this area right here that sticks out from the side, where I suppose they're probably the magnets to connect into the system, but the SL and SR buttons are so much bigger. They look so much more robust. It's just such a nicer, I think this is going to be such a nicer Joy-Con, dude. These Joy-Con look more premium than the original, by far. And I love, one thing I notice is it almost seems like there's a little bit of this nice little speckled texture. And that looks nice. Because the current Switch Joy-Con, they just get so like oily, like grimy. And I feel like you have to clean them quite often, and of course these would probably need to be cleaned a little bit, but it just seems like there was a little bit of a speckled texture that might make them feel a little better in the hands, might help with the oiliness from, you know, the oils from your skin and stuff getting on them, making them feel just grimy. That might help. I'm still gonna clean them, take care of your stuff, for goodness sakes, but it's at least gonna be a little better. One thing with the Joy-Con, though, that people are talking about is this little button underneath the home button. What's that going to be? And we don't know yet. That is supposedly what people have been talking about with that little C button. And we have no idea what it's going to do officially. Some people have different theories. I'm not going to lean into saying what I think because I don't know. And I'm not really going to say anything about it till we find out. Another thing about the Joy-Cons people have been talking about is this connector here. Oh goodness, this connector. I've been seeing people talking about this, about how they think it's going to be able to be susceptible to wear, like it's going to snap a lot. I mean, the Switch rails in the original Switch models pretty prone to failure. I believe I made a YouTube short about it at one point, but my left side rail, like my left side Joy-Con will just it'll just pop right out. You don't have to press the button on the back, you can just slide it right out. So that was a point of failure. This I have faith in. This connector here is recessed in, and it seems to me like the connection side on the Joy-Con are perfectly shaped for that connector. And I feel like once your Joy-Con is in there, right? Once your Joy-Con is in, it's magnetically attached and the connector, the pins are slotted into to the Joy-Con. That seems pretty fit and it seems pretty secure. And I feel like unless you really intentionally bend them, I don't think you're going to break this connector. So, it's going to be a thing where, again, we got to get it hands-on to know. But this seems pretty secure to me. Some people have already talked about this and how this is a pretty sound design, and Nintendo would have thought this through. Knowing that this could be a major controversy if they were susceptible to breaking, you pretty sure that they would be sure to test this and have engineers on this to make sure that this is not going to be a huge point of failure. If you intend to break it, it's going to break if you intend on it. As long as you're going along the lines of intended use, I don't think you're going to have a problem. And I just know, I have this feeling in the back of my mind that there's going to be people that are going to intentionally break it and then put it all over social media and be like, oh, the connectors are breaking. People are going to buy these with the intent of breaking this so they can start up a controversy. It's what happens. Who knows? Maybe I'm wrong and I should have more faith in humanity. But it's just what happens, dude. Someone's going to do it. Someone's going to intentionally break it. But looking past the hardware, let's talk a little bit about some software, which is what we really care about overall. Of course, I care about the hardware. But when it comes to Nintendo console, it's the games that make it. And I feel like Nintendo might have that same mentality. This is not a Super Nintendo to Nintendo 64 step, basically. You know what I mean? This is a Switch iteration, but I think it is probably going to be more powerful. And of course, games are still going to matter. It doesn't matter how more powerful or how different your new console is. Games still matter. It is not performance and power alone that makes a console. Games do matter. And especially for Nintendo, because they make their games just for their hardware. As much as I wish they didn't, and that they would put a focus on bringing their amazing experiences to everybody, despite what console they have. This is the way Nintendo operates. Hey, they're pretty comfortable with making their games for the hardware that they make. So, as I said, especially for Nintendo, games really do matter. And they showed us what is probably the only game teaser they could have possibly shown, a brand new Mario Kart. But this looks interesting. This new Mario Kart, there's not too much to speak of other than the fact that we have 24 starting positions at the starting line, which is crazy. And it looks like there's an actual pit stop too. I don't think I've seen anybody talking about that yet, but there's an actual pit stop off this track, dude. I'm just now realizing that, just now as I'm looking at this. Could that mean something? Could that mean something for Mario Kart gameplay, that maybe your tires get worn? I don't know. Maybe that's a stretch. And this course looks pretty cool. One thing I want to note about this course is that this is called Mario Bros. Circuit. You can see it right here at Mario Bros. Circuit, and it's in the desert. Since when do they place the standard Mario Kart circuit tracks, like Mario Circuit and Luigi Circuit, in this case Mario Bros. Circuit? Since when do they put those in the desert? It's always grassland. It's always grassy areas. And also, another thing about this track is they start on the road, they go off to this off-road section, but there's signs in front of this continuing road. What does that mean? Here's a theory I had about this, actually. Modular tracks. What if this track has multiple different routings you could take, and you can configure which routings you want to do on a single race. Or this could just be a Mario Kart 8 Deluxe booster course pass situation where the track takes you on different paths each lap. They did that in the booster course pass, which I thought was really kind of cool, actually. Usually it was just like, hey, go around the track backwards this time, but it could just be that this is like lap 2 and lap 2 takes you off-road. But what if tracks were modular and you could choose the pathing? It's a theory. I don't know if it could happen, but it's a theory. I don't know. We got to know more about this. But then another thing I noticed is that, look at this section. This is like an entirely, like, this is on road. We were just off road a second ago, and now this footage, we're on road. And then it goes like straight and right, and it doesn't really seem apparent which way it goes. What if this could be a separate track just in a similar setting, which means that like we could have multiple tracks be in different settings, which means like, what if like Cups, stay with me here, what if Cups, instead of Cups, it's worlds, and each world has 4 tracks? I'm just like, Mario Kart Odyssey, anybody? No, I don't know. But it's just an idea, and I think it would be kind of cool. I've been thinking about this for the last few days. But no, it's just an idea, and it could be a cool, potentially, idea if they do it right. But it just seems to me that, like, this area of this course just seems like it's a completely separate track. Like, it's the same setting, it's the same kind of area, just a different track in the same area. That's what it looks like to me anyways. Another thing I notice is I don't know what that is. What's this? If you can see where my mouse cursor is, this little yellow thing through this little like Yoshi's Diner thing. Could you go through that? Is that a pickup of some kind? That's giving me like Smash Ball, because you can see their item blocks down here later on their item boxes later down here on the track. So what's this thing? Is there gonna be like an item you can pick up that gives you like a special ability like per character? So each character has like a special ability, and that like enables it, kind of like a Smash Ball type thing. I don't know. I'm just observing, dude. Just want to say again, these carts are pretty cool looking. I kind of like the look of some of these carts. Rosalina has this like snowmobile looking cart, which is interesting. I don't know. There's just a lot to pick apart in this teaser. Like, another thing is like Donkey Kong, dude. Donkey Kong has his movie design, seemingly. And then Mario and Luigi look like they have like their Mario Wonder-ish designs, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I like the Mario Wonder designs. But Donkey Kong. Also, people have been talking about, is that King Boo in the very back there where my cursor's at? Could be. I don't know. We'll see. Pauline returns, as you can see. I believe that's Pauline back there behind Wario. But yeah, dude, like, new Mario Kart, that's exciting, bro. It's been so long. The only thing I worry about with a new Mario Kart, though, is that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is already so big. It has the most tracks. It has the biggest character roster, even though we have the Koopa Kids. It has the most content of any Mario Kart. It's got, in my opinion, one of the best battle modes in the series. It has every battle mode you could want from any other game. The only thing I feel like they could have added in there was like a mission mode type of thing from Mario Kart DS, like something similar to that. But yeah, I just feel like this new Mario Kart's gonna have to do some real big things to make it stand apart from Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Or else, like, I'm just gonna stick with 8 Deluxe. Like, if this new Mario Kart comes out, let's say it's Mario Kart 9, it comes out and it has not the same quality and quantity of content, I'll just stick with 8 Deluxe and keep playing 8 Deluxe, dude. I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe this Mario Kart 9 is going to have something huge that really sets it apart from 8 Deluxe, and it's just like such a huge improvement, and you gotta get that new Mario Kart because it is the best Mario Kart. For me to be like a hit for me, like something I want to go pick up, it's gotta be the best Mario Kart. Because for me personally, I've played every Mario Kart. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, to me, is the best. So Mario Kart 9 has to be the best to get me hooked. It has to be. The problem is that I'm not going to be able to decide that for myself unless I play it. I was talking to a server the one time, it was in the Kingdom Hearts Melon Mix server, and we were talking about this the day that it dropped. It would be really cool, okay, stay with me, if Mario Kart 9 came out, and all of the content in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you own that game and if you own the booster course pass, if you could use all that content in Mario Kart 9, like all the tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, if you own the game, like maybe Mario Kart 9 is just made in the same engine and it can all be brought, all the courses could be brought over, and you have the data of the game and the booster course pass on your Switch and it could like pull from that, that would be super cool. I don't know how likely that is. That's probably me coping. I would want a new Mario Kart to be the absolute best of the best, and I feel like to do that, you have to match or exceed the quantity and quality of content in 8 Deluxe. Me personally, that's how I feel about it. So, new Mario Kart. Seemingly pretty exciting. We'll have to wait and see. I'm expecting that some games are going to get revealed the same day as this April Direct. I feel like this April Direct is going to be like, okay, here's the console in depth. Here's all the information on it. Here's some games we're doing. Because the original Switch did this too. They gave us that teaser trailer of people using the Switch playing games. They showed off some games but didn't give any official announcements, like how they showed off a new Mario Kart but didn't give any information further. They then had a Direct later on where they showed off the console more in depth, and they actually showed us what these games are going to be. So I get the feeling that's going to happen at this April Direct as well. Bottom line, I am excited for this console, but I'm not entirely sold on it yet. I need to see more. I want to know if original Switch games are going to run better. I want to know how this console is going to hold up hands-on. How do the Joy-Cons feel? How do they feel attaching? How do they feel unattaching? What's the screen like? You know, what's the battery life going to be like? Is that kickstand going to hold it up to the test of time? I need to know all that stuff, which means I got to wait 3 more months. I would love for this to be an instant buy, but as of now, I can't say it is. I want to know more. I do like how it looks. 2025. It's coming out this year. I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to hear more about it and see more about it. I am excited. I feel like I've kind of gotten everything I wanted to talk about the system out of the way. I will say this. If I do end up buying it right off the bat, you know, I'm sure I'll do an unboxing and all that and first hands-on impressions and all that stuff. So stay tuned for that. If I end up buying a Switch 2, I kind of feel like I'm leaning on the side of yes, but again, I can't make that complete decision yet. So stay tuned for all that. I do wish Nintendo the best with this new console coming up. I really do, because they've been killing it. Like, as far as like the game side, they have been doing very well these last couple of years. And I think with some brand new hardware, they're going to be able to do even that much better. So, as I said, I am very excited for this. Like, I keep saying that, but I am. This is exciting. Yeah, wow, this sure is something. This has been stirring up a lot of conversation, a lot of positive and negative, but I think that this is mostly a positive thing. I'm looking forward to seeing the future of this. That's going to be all for me today. Have a good day, everybody. Josh out.